1944, just 6 days after D-Day, in World War II, a young lieutenant named Richard Winters led his men to the outskirts of a small town in France. As the officer in charge of this company, the 101st Airborne Division, he was tasked to clear a large French town of the German defenders. It would be a small battle, but it played a significant role in the massive effort to rid the world of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. Okay. As Winters led his company up the road towards the town, the company started taking on heavy machine gun fire from the Germans, and the men instinctively divided. They dived for cover into the ditches on either side of the road, and they stayed there. They froze. Not only was the success of the mission in jeopardy, but the men were easy targets for the enemy machine gun and the sniper fire. Okay, so what happened? What happened was now proved to be the turning point in the battle for this small village. Okay, it's the stuff that actually legends are made of. Lieutenant Winters went into the middle of the road with the bullets hissing past him, and he started shouting at his troops to get out of the ditches and encourage and engage the enemy. His words, coupled with his heroic action, motivated the men to get up and get into the fight and gain a decisive victory over the Germans. Winters had total disregard for his personal safety, and his effort to save his men from certain death didn't just earn him a medal for his actions, but it earned him the love and respect and the admiration of his men. They followed him faithfully from this town through the nightmarish battle of the Bulge and onto the triumph at Hitler's Eagle's Nest. The soldiers, willing to follow men like that, the men who demonstrated acts of self-defense, acts of self-sacrifice in the most harrowing of circumstances. How much more should we as Christians follow the one who endured suffering and death to rescue us from the most terrifying fate of all eternity in hell? Okay, so that was the idea that entered Paul. What was the idea when it entered Paul's mind at the end of his ministry? If you remember clearly, having been imprisoned by Nero, he wrote to encourage the young pastor. Timothy was facing severe conflict in his ministry at Ephesus, and the relentless opposition from persecutors. He was weakening in himself, just like any Christian who experiences difficulty because of his following Jesus Christ. I mean, we all have that same sort of thing in our lives. He needed to be reminded again of his task to suffer hardship as a good soldier for Jesus Christ. Paul wrote in 2 Timothy 2, verse 3 to 4, "Suffer hardships with me as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No soldier in active service entangles himself in the affairs of everyday life." Okay, so that he may please the one who enlisted him as a soldier. A good soldier is one who doesn't just simply do the minimum duty for his Lord, but rather he is the one who serves him with everything as he does. As a Christian, that's what we are called to do. Paul's words to Timothy are like marching orders to us to strive to be a good soldier for Jesus Christ. Okay, so there are a couple of points here that are related to being a good soldier for Jesus. The first mark of a good soldier is the willingness to suffer hardship and with the rest of the soldiers. So to suffer hardship literally means to suffer evil or pain along with somebody else. By adding with me, Paul assures Timothy that he hasn't asked anything of him that he wasn't willing to do. So in fact, Paul was writing